always on your side. This is First Coast News at 6.
Now at 6, Hurricane Michael. Right now, it is a powerful Category 3 storm. Winds of 120 miles per hour as it barrels toward the panhandle of Florida. And it could intensify before making landfall sometime tomorrow. Now, the storm is a triple threat: high winds, heavy rains, and flash floods. That's what it did to Cuba and to Mexico. Meanwhile, here in Florida, thousands of people are rushing away from the Gulf Coast right now as the storm moves in.
So let's take you out live right now to Florida's Panhandle. This is Panama City Beach. You can see the surf there is picking up at this hour. Also, let's take a live look out at Destin, which is about 50 miles west of Panama City. You can see there the conditions out there. You can see those waves and surf raging right now. Thank you for joining us tonight at 6. I'm Anthony Austin.
And I'm Jeannie Blaylock. Michael, no doubt, is a massive storm, and it is growing. It's gaining momentum as it closes in as well. Now, these are some new satellite images we're showing here of Michael, and you can see the eye is really starting to take shape.
And Michael is expected to make landfall in the Panhandle sometime tomorrow. Then it's projected to veer northeast through Georgia. So here's the latest headlines at this hour. Right now, a state of emergency is now in effect for nearly 100 counties in Georgia and parts of Florida, including counties in our viewing area. We're talking about Bradford, Baker, Columbia, and Union counties.
Also, parents and students, listen up. Schools in Baker, Bradford, and Columbia counties are closed tomorrow and closed Thursday. In Union County, schools are closed through Friday all this week. And in Georgia, classes are closed in Brantley and Pierce counties, but only for tomorrow. In Glenn County in Georgia, tomorrow students will have half a day. But then on Thursday in Glenn County, all schools will be closed.
And just into our newsroom, we've learned Duval County Public Schools will be open tomorrow. However, all after-school activities will be canceled. We have all of this information, plus a lot more scrolling right there at the bottom of your screen. And we do have live team coverage for you tonight at 6. We have crews spread out from Panama City Beach to the First Coast. We begin with the latest from storm expert Tim Deegan.
Thank you, Anthony. Well, for those of you who have not seen the 5 p.m. update, here's the 5 p.m. update. We'll get another update at 10 on the actual position and strength. And the cone updates, they just come about every 6 hours. They tend to wait on about every 6 hours the new computer models run. Actually, the best computer models will come in between about 7 and 9 to 10. The Hurricane Center and the rest of us will analyze those models, and then the new cone will be ready to go at 11 p.m. So this is the latest cone and the numbers that we have to look at. So, unfortunately, the hurricane has continued to intensify as forecast. At least for planners, it's going along the track. It still looks like the eye wall. Remember, that's the worst the hurricane has to offer. That's going to make landfall about 24 hours from now in the Panama City, Apalachicola area. It's when it turns and goes to the right that the core of the hurricane, or what's left of the hurricane, will be impacting us. And, of course, here is Waycross right on the edge of where what's left would be a strong tropical storm still on Thursday morning. So that would be sustained winds of 70 and still gust up to about 90 miles per hour. The deadly storm surge is a surge that's going to be on the Gulf Coast, pretty much under the eye and to the right of the right side eye wall. In fact, that's why you see 6 to 9, or one of the reasons why, between Panama City and Apalachicola. And then because it's to the right of the eye wall and because of the shape of the coast, basically the Gulf of Mexico can run up this way and spread out to the west. But when it runs up to the northeast, because it's concave, it has nowhere to go. It just piles up. So 8 to 12-foot storm surge, pretty phenomenal for a Category 3 hurricane. So as a reminder, as bad as this hurricane is for us, the worst weather is, of course, on the Gulf Coast, because that's where landfall will be with a major hurricane. Our highest concern, primarily with winds and isolated tornadoes, for those of you in the Lake City to Waycross area, and we're talking about homes without foundations, manufactured homes, trailered homes, especially for tomorrow night and into Thursday morning. This graphic, I think, shows pretty well the expansion of these aren't gusts, these are sustained winds. So this will be the expansion of the tropical storm force winds as they work to the north and the northeast. And I think you can see from this graphic why Duval is right on the edge. Tropical storm warnings are in effect from Fernandina Beach north and also for areas west. But that means any slight altering of this course to the right, or as Ken Graham just mentioned, an expansion of the storm would cause at least the need for a tropical storm warning for Duval County and possibly those of you in Clay and St. Johns. At the very least, there will be some tropical storm force gusts. What about the rain? Well, we've had heavy rain. There's going to be heavy rain, but because this is a mover and because it looks like the heaviest rains will be along and just to the left of the motion, that would keep the worst of the rainiest weather off to our northwest. That's a general look. We'll break it down more specifically in just a bit.
Tim, thank you very much. Right now we have volunteers from the American Red Cross. They're right here in our studio. They're anxious to answer anything that's on your mind related to Hurricane Michael. Just give them a call, 632-1200. They're here to help you feel comfortable and get you prepared.
And right now in the Panhandle, mandatory evacuations are in place for more than 100,000 people. You're taking a live look out at Panama City Beach. 70 miles west from there is where we find our Juliet Dreyer. She joins us live from Navarre. Juliet.
Anthony, I spoke with a woman here on the beach who really summed it up perfectly. She said, we haven't seen a hurricane like this here in a really long time. So there's a certain amount of anxiety that comes along with that. People saying we just want it to come so that we know what we're working with here on Navarre Beach. Hey guys, people waving to us over there. A lot of people coming out here just to see that surf as it kicks up right now. A lot of people coming out to take pictures. We see this a lot before hurricanes. But as we point our attention over here, you can see those double red flags flying. That says, hey, water is closed to the public. So a lot of people coming out here taking pictures, no one in the water. Now, an interesting thing that we weren't expecting is that there's an irritation in the air. We are coughing and we're told that's from red tide. And we're told that that's been the worst here that people have seen yet. So people are coughing, but they're still coming out here taking some pictures on the beach. This area right now is under a hurricane warning, a storm surge watch. So we will, of course, keep you updated on air, online. We'll have everything for you throughout this storm to get you through it. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Juliet. Southeast Georgia also bracing for a rough couple of days ahead. Officials say power outages could be widespread. They could be long-lasting. And that's why in Ware County, emergency managers will be stationed at their operation centers, they tell us now, around the clock. Alex Ositis joins us live from Waycross, and emergency managers there are urging everybody to not go into this just kind of willy-nilly, but have a plan. Makes you feel more comfortable, and it's definitely safer.
That's right. It's here in Ware County in Waycross.
A rainy day in Waycross, far from routine. A new sign taped to the door of a local barbecue joint, Hog and Bones, letting customers know they'll be closing up early on Wednesday.
We want all of our employees to be safe, and so we're just going to let them all go home.
At Eldridge Hardware, they're watching the skies and the register.
It wasn't like last year when you had a long time to plan for it, but it will start. Weather's getting bad, it'll start soon.
Ware County, one of 92 under a state of emergency issued by Governor Deal Tuesday morning. County Emergency Management Director Jonathan Daniels says that talks have been productive with departments in the Waycross area. The worst he expects is when trees start coming down.
Make sure that everybody's ready there, chainsaws are ready, and be able to move things out of the way as needed.
He says Public Works is checking on their system to make sure it can handle additional water. The tarps and rain gear already out for customers at Eldridge.
We got the tarps, the plywood, sheeting, raincoats, generators, batteries, lights.
And the employees of Hog and Bones hasn't decided about the rest of the week, so he'll be ready to take calls.
We employ a lot of teenagers, so a lot of parents will call, want to know what's going on, and we'll keep them informed.
Now, tomorrow here in Waycross, they're planning to open up shelters. That's starting at 5 o'clock. Emergency managers are planning to spend the night in their offices checking on this storm. We're live at Waycross. Alex Ositis, First Coast News, on your side.
All right, Alex, thank you so much. Now let's take you to Columbia County, where emergency management there is preparing for the storm as well. On your side's Nick Perot continues our team coverage now from Lake City. Nick?
Jeannie, good evening. Yes, we've seen this sandbag pile here get higher and higher throughout the day. It's roughly about
now
5
to
feet
Anthony.
high right now. We've seen a few families come in here filling this out and basically telling us here that, you know, it's the old adage, better be safe than sorry. Nearly 50 emergency management staff huddled inside the command center here in Columbia County for final preparations this morning. Their main concern is not so much the rain, as they're only expecting about 3 inches, but more so the wind. Public Works crews have sandbags ready for those that need them. The big concern here is more manufactured homes and trailers. As a precaution, all schools have canceled classes for Wednesday and Thursday. Westside, Winfield, and South Columbia Community Center shelters are opening their doors at 6. We stopped by an RV park earlier today that has canceled some reservations in lieu of Hurricane Matthew and is cutting down trees that could be a potential problem in rough conditions. Even though Columbia County is not in a direct path, the emergency operations manager is encouraging people to use this as a reminder to be prepared.
You want to be sure that in events like this, you test out, okay, we get separated, where are we going to meet at? Those kind of things. Are we going to meet at a convenience store down the road? Are we going to meet in the school parking lot? Those kind of things. So that's where these kind of events, even though they don't impact us to a major degree, thankfully, there are things that families can do.
And back out here live again, as we said, this is something that's simply out here, emergency management officials are simply saying, just, take this as a precaution, be ready just in case, because they don't know right now how severe the wind will be out here in Columbia County. Reporting live tonight in Columbia County, they're trying to get this thing still up to 5 feet high all the way down here. Nick Perot, First Coast News, on your side.
Thank you, Nick. And as tens of thousands evacuate the Gulf Coast, many of you here in Duval County might be asking, how does this affect me? Well, while it's a good idea to bring in your pets and your patio furniture, the city of Jacksonville says your trash still needs to go out as scheduled. A spokesperson for the city says, as of now, operations will continue as normal. Meanwhile, our First Coast News storm experts say it's probably a good idea for all you homeowners to think about a few things.
We'll have gusty winds, so you want to be careful about loose patio items or yard debris or branches or any trees that you may already be worried about. Now is the time to kind of make sure things are put in order, just because we are going to have gusty winds through Thursday.
And be sure to stay with First Coast News for the very latest. You can always find the latest on the storm's track and the latest headlines, even when we're not on the air, by logging onto our website, firstcoastnews.com. You can also click on the Hurricane Central tab that's in the upper left corner, and you can get the latest information there. And if you can safely do so, you can share your weather pictures and videos with us. Once again, as long as you take them safely using the hashtag FCNStorm.
And we continue now to follow some breaking traffic news this evening. All northbound lanes of I-95 are shut down due to a fuel leak. This is at I-95 and 8th Street in Jacksonville. Drivers, you're urged to avoid this area. Try to take a different route to get home or where you're going tonight. The looming threat of Hurricane Michael is impacting the voter registration deadline here in Florida. Coming up next, what it means for voters.
Here in Baker County, the roadways have been a little quieter than usual, and that's because most people are figuring out what they want to do ahead of the storm. And in case you want shelter, you can come here to McClinney Elementary School, where they can shelter you for the next 2 days. We have a live report with details next.
And we are keeping a close eye on Michael as it moves closer to Florida. Storm expert Tim Deegan will have the latest in just a few minutes. But first, here's a live look out at Florida's Panhandle. Out of Florida's Panhandle, this is Destin that you're taking a look at. And remember, our Red Cross volunteers are here to help you, whatever you have a question about when it comes to Hurricane Michael. What might be on your mind, just call them 904-632-1200. Once again, that's 904-632-1200. We'll be right back.